to another Ableton tutorial. Big shout out everyone who's getting involved on Patreon, on YouTube. It means a lot. I really do appreciate the support. Lovely to have you here. So let's jump into it. Today, the title you probably saw, creating organic style beats, organic feeling beats from field recordings. So anyone who's ever been on a walk with me will have experienced that I like sound and I like hitting things and I like, oh, that's a cool sound. And then I record it, sometimes with a Zoom, sometimes with fancy microphones, sometimes just with my phone if it's a nice sound, and I'll just hit it for sort of 30 seconds or something. So today I wanted to look at how do I turn that into something that feels musical, that feels human, that feels organic, but that I can use in this kind of context with a beat. So let's start from the start. I'm just going to press stop on these things. So let's start from the start. I had a drum beat in there. I'm going to mute that. I'm going to delete the instrument that I made. So let's delete that and let's start from the start. So here I have a sample. Let's turn loop off even. And this was me, let's turn warp off as well. I found a fire grate. It was at my parents' house, a really interesting old fire grate. Made this lovely sound when I hit it. I recorded this using the Loam geophone, so it's all the resonance of the plate as opposed to any ambient sound. We're going to look at how to take a section of this and turn this into an organic feeling, organic sounding beat. So first things first, I'm going to bring in a simpler. We're going to go instruments, we're going to find simpler, and we're going to drag it over here. And I'm just going to drag and drop that sample of the fire grate hits into simpler. Now I'm going to switch to slice. I'm going to leave it on slice by transient. And I'm just going to come in and maybe let's go for this section starting in here. And I'm going to go in and just really, and I probably don't want the end of that. Let's just go up to here. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to tighten up all of these transients that it's picked. It seems to have done quite a good job. You don't need to be too precise on this, but I like to just make sure that things are not starting, in the middle of a hit. Maybe let's shift that one a little bit. Okay, so we've got a bunch of slices now. They're chopped up nice and tight. And I'm going to use the melodic steps device again for this to create patterns. Instead of programming them in MIDI, you could program in MIDI. I like this as a way of quickly exploring evolving patterns. So we're going to go to MIDI effects. MIDI effects, and we're going to bring in the melodic steps. Where are you? Melodic steps. And to make sure everything's working, I just want to make sure that we're triggering this first sample over and over. So I'm going to set the octaves down to, so that this first sample is C1. I'm going to set all the rest of these up to 100%, the length and the chance and everything. We can see a MIDI note is coming out. Let's just put you both on there. We can bring this down to 2, which is the lowest it will let me go. Now I just need to find the note, don't I? Why are we not hearing a note? We can see MIDI coming in. What note are you? There we go. Okay. So we're getting, we're getting C#1. That will do. Okay, so we can hear this being triggered. This melodic steps is triggering notes every 16th note. And we can hear that it's just triggering this one sample over and over again. So let's bring in a way that it's going to randomize which of these individual hits. So we're going to use the MIDI effects, the random effects, where have you got random? And let's count. We have using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, around 16. So we're going to say we want 16 choices here. We only want it to go above. We don't want it to go below. And let's turn the chance up. And already this is feeling quite nice, quite human. We're picking different samples. We're going to change a couple of things on here. Yeah, mono playback is what we want. No, I want poly playback because I want notes to be able to ring out after they've finished. I don't want it just playing one sample at a time. So I'm also going to bring in a note length in here. We're going to change this to gate. So you can hear that now we can make the sample super short. we can make them long. I don't want it so long that it's sort of triggering any next little bits in the sample, and let's add just a little bit of fade out. So this is now feeling quite organic in terms of, oh, there's something happening here. Let's add another one here. Go here, double click. Oh, and I didn't time that one up quite nicely. Okay, so it's triggering the samples. It's still feeling quite mechanic, even though it's triggering individual hits. It's feeling quite mechanic timing-wise. We obviously know that as humans, it is simply impossible for us to play timing that tight. So let's introduce a little bit of humanity, a little bit of randomness into the timing. So to do this, I'm going to use a note echo. I'm going to change this sync to just time. I'm going to turn the feedback down to 1. I'm going to turn the input to mute, and I'm going to bring this down to 1 millisecond. So now what this note echo is now doing is it is muting the original note. It is adding a 1 millisecond delay, and then it is playing a new note. You can see where I'm heading with this. We want to sort of randomize this 1 millisecond delay. So let's bring in a random expression control random. Now, if I just automatically, this is my preset, everything's already set to random, but we'll select random here. We'll select map and we'll connect that to here. And you can hear that's just way too much. That's just simply way too much. We only want this going in one direction, so unipolar is correct. Probably want to bring the range right down then. Let's maybe bring the range down to say, it's still sounding very human, but now let's constrain it here a bit more. And now we can hear some wonkiness coming into the timing. Of course, this is only going to wonkiness the timing after the beat, after the note is triggered. We're not able to wonkify the timing to go in front of the beat, but you hear the effect, and it's a lovely way of adding a bit of humanity into the timing. Right, now, let's do some stuff with the velocity. So let's change this velocity pattern to 16 notes, so we have 1 bar at 4/4 and 16th notes. And if we do something like this, quite a common pattern here. Did I take one out? I want this one, don't I? Now if I go here and add some more velocity sensitivity. So you can now hear this pattern coming out. We're clipping a little bit. Let's add a limiter. Let's go the color limiter at the end of all of this. Yeah, let's bring the ceiling down a little bit. Yeah, so now perhaps this is too much on the volume to velocity. And perhaps I'm now just going to do a little bit of work on the sound. There's some funny frequencies in there, so let's just take those out. A little bit too resonant, this fire grade. A little bit too resonant. So let's take out some of the sub as well. Now, another thing that might be interesting to link to the velocity is, of course, the filter. So let's go in here in the controls. Let's add the envelope. No, I don't want an envelope. I just want an envelope. I just want to bring this down, and this may be a bit too much. I don't know if I like that. I think I liked it without that. Let's turn that off. Yeah, okay. So we have a nice sound happening now. It's we can program in patterns using this. So let's, if we wanted to, let's bump this up to 16 steps as well. Let's have 100% chance on all the way, please. I've changed my pattern in here somehow as well. Now, if we want to take steps out, we can simply take the chance down here. Let's say we wanted to bring a bit more humanness in with the velocity as well. So let's use a melodic velocity device in here. Just add a little bit of random here. And of course, the more we turn this velocity sensitivity up on simpler, more that's going to have an effect. Okay, this is quite nice. This is quite nice. Okay, let's now try. Let's separate these high velocity notes and the low velocity notes. So I'm just going to bring these two down. Right. Let's group that. Select Command G. Now I'm going to duplicate it. And we're going to open, I've turned one of them off just so it doesn't clip. We're going to open the velocity chain here. So the top one, I want this to just be my loud hits. Let's see if that's happening. Lovely. So now I bring the bottom one down. So now this is only going to be those softer hits. So now what happens if we transpose the softer hits up? It's kind of interesting, maybe. Maybe if it was. No, I think. And let's make the softer hits much more sensitive velocity-wise, and maybe let's just bring a little bit of the. There we go. So now there's a real differentiation between the louder hits and the softer hits. Let's maybe let's add a reverb just to the louder hits. Let's go hybrid reverb. This is quite nice. So the softer hits feel really intimate. The louder hits are now feeling like they have a bit more space. We're humanizing the timing here. Let's group this and let's rename that human timing. And let's add a macro to this range. Can I do that? Yes. And I want it to go from 0 to maybe 20. That's going to be way more than I might ever need. But now I can minimize all of this stuff. Super wonky timing, very rigid timing, so let's leave that around there. Let's label that wonkiness. We have a nice way here that we can control the gates on the notes. We have the fade out turned up a bit, so that's ease affecting that. Those two things are connected, of course. We have this that's randomizing the individual notes. You can actually go right at the start of the whole chain so we know what's going on. And this is a little bit of random velocity stuff happening here. Right, now, that's quite nice. I'm just going to turn you off for a second and listen to this second sample that I have here. So, yeah, I found a nice little wooden sound. And often a sound like this can add a lovely layer, a lovely texture on top of on top of something like that, those fire grate hits. So I'm going to come back in here to my instrument rack, Command Tab to get back here. And all of this is the actual sound of the instrument. Let's hide the chain. Where do you go up to? Right. I'm going to also then include the EQing of that instrument. So select all of that, Command G. You're now a group. Let's turn that off and let's rename that fire grate. And let's add in this this little wooden kalimba sound under here. And that will have already turned that into a simpler. I want to turn slice on. Yeah, that already looks quite nice. I'm going to, go up a bit further here. Now, all of the rhythmic settings, all of the velocity settings are still there. They're coming out of this melodic steps device. So if I turn this back on, and let's just listen to the wooden kalimba. That's also adding like a lovely weird note to the whole situation. And again, let's turn the... And you know what? I want to put this humanizing thing separately. So I'm going to drag my humanizing timing thing. So that's on the fire grate, and now I'm going to copy it, and we're going to just insert it here on the kalimba. Oh, I can't put it there. Can I just go like that? Command V. Yeah, there we go. So now the two timings are both humanized to about the same degree, but they are separate. They're separated. They're different randomings. Let's bring that one down a little bit, which can make it feel like two people playing the same rhythm on these different instruments. So now let's also do something with this kalimba sound to separate it a little bit. In fact, I'm just going to use the align delay at the end here. And this takes the left and the right signal and literally adds a millisecond delay in. So if I just... So what that is doing is effectively, it's a Haas effect, H-A-A-S. It makes it a true stereo sound now. So that's sort of sitting around our little fire grate sound. This is really nice. Let's see how it sounds with a beat. Let's add an OTT at the end of that whole thing to glue the whole sound together. Way too much. Calm down. Now, what can get really interesting? We have this sort of rhythmic pattern that we've programmed in using the velocity. But if we change the length of this pattern, let's change that to maybe something like 7 steps. Let's bring the chants back up on all of them again. So now you hear the rhythmic pattern really phasing against the beat pattern. We've got 7 steps, 7 16th notes, rhythmic accented pattern, and of course the beat is in 4/4, so 8 16th notes in between the kick and the snare. So the placement of these two rhythmic accents is changing every 7 notes. Well, 7 against 60. It's what we call a polymetric situation. I explored this in one of my previous videos. So that's the basic idea today. Ways of taking field recordings, sounds of wooden fire grates and like little clicky wooden kalimba sounds, giving them an organicness but still being able to program them and give them a musical context within other things that we're musicking, other things that we're making, other things that we're doing. So there you have it. Quite a quick one today, but I wanted to share this idea as a way of utilizing these field recordings. Patreon members, this fire grate recording along with a whole other pack is available for download on the Patreon. Go and grab it. Send me what you're making. Send me what you're doing. Lovely to have you here today. Thanks for joining.